some people have written in and asked us some questions, and I told them I would hit this right up on the front of the show. And ask you this.
Okay.
But there's a rumor that there's this intimidating toothbrush that's been terrorizing people. And so,
listen, Linda.
Have you been ran out of your home? Have you been ran out of your home because of an electric toothbrush or something?
I really did think I was praying over my family. I was praying that we would not have a bomb go off in our home. Nobody knows what we're talking about.
No,
I don't even know.
Do you want me to tell you guys what happened?
I'm afraid to hear this. I'm afraid.
So it was a Monday morning a week ago, and I hard on Sunday nights because Sunday's a really, really big day for ministry, for worship leading and stuff. And so I was out, and I was awoken from a dead sleep by a terrible noise. And it sounded...
Sounds like a Christmas story.
That's what I was thinking.
And what was a clatter?
Listen, it sounded like someone was sawing through my wall, and there was water, like a waterfall. And I called Justin, I put it on speakerphone, and I said, babe, this is not good. Like, something really, really bad has happened. He's like, I'm just now pulling into the plant. And I'm like, it's really bad. And he goes, okay, I'm pulling away from the plant. and he came home, and for 25 minutes, that's how long it takes him. I prayed, and I called him again. I said, do I need to take the kids for safety? I got the dogs out of our room because I thought that my room was going to blow up and we were all going to die. I was really, really scared. And he came home, and he
what was it, Lindsay? What was it?
He opens the shower door, and he said, babe, looks like my toothbrush fell off the ledge and somehow got turned on. Turned the toothbrush off. And we were saved. My hero.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm a little bit shocked. So can I speak on behalf of the audience?
Please.
Here's what everybody, y'all feel free to chime in and tell everybody that you're agreeing with me here.
Yes.
I went straight to the Lord in prayer.
Well, that
for
was
my house.
After your house is going to blow up. I mean, why couldn't it have been that there is a mole who is bore into your house?
Listen, when I was like in
How about,
middle, when I was in middle school, our water heater exploded.
Mole. It was gonna blow up. Okay.
Our water heater exploded when I was in middle school next to my room, and so I thought it's happening again, and there's gonna be fire
that's
and
at least more realistic
water
than a bomb
everywhere. I thought it was over.
That.
I almost called my neighbors. I was like, do I need to call?
It was over.
Oh, my word.
I just want to know, why was there like a lack of investigation?
I went in there.
Because I feel like Justin got there, and within 5 minutes, he was like, yeah, it's a toothbrush.
It was within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But I went in the bathroom,
I mean,
and
you're
I
dead
couldn't
anyway.
find the sound.
Why not at least go see why you're going to die?
I don't think due diligence was there.
No, I'm going to die.
Listen.
That's what's determined.
I have
at least want to see why I'm
proclaimed to have excellent technical skills. I've never
It's not technical skills.
Nah.
It's opening the shower.
Well, I thought
pretty
the
sure
shower was
3-year-old
going to
could
blow me
turn that
up.
off.
So I did not open the shower because I didn't want to die.
This business, guys, is once you have these tools and stuff in place, you can sit in your underwear in your office and have fun and act. Because that's what these tools do.
We are not wearing our underwear, by the way.
Oh, I'm definitely
wearing underwear.
I mean, we're not wearing.
Speak for yourself.
Do not.
We're not wearing just our underwear.
Oh, okay.
That is different.
That's different.
That is a completely different statement.
Completely different.
Those are different words.
Why? I mean, talking about toothbrushes, and then
I'm telling you,
I don't know where
what has happened to this program.
She's hijacked it. It used to be a nice Christian show.
Yes, and you know that guy who come up to you and he says, "Hey, can we just get through the weird stuff to the business?"
Yeah.
Now we know why.
Now we know what he's talking about. Now we know. You know, it all started with the CBD comment, and
I
ever
just
since
meant we weren't like inappropriate off camera. That's all I meant.
Yes.
No one's.
Oh, we're definitely inappropriate off the camera too, but that's a whole nother story.
We leave the inappropriateness to when we're on the camera. Any other questions?
Yeah,
the whole thing is, I have not in my heart like.
Listen.
That's defensive. She's got in my heart.
She's starting to feel guilty.
No, I'm telling you, I thought that toothbrush was going to set my house on fire.
I'm sending a text message to your pastor and asking him, please do not listen to this episode 394. It was innocent.
It was innocent.
I really did think that my house was going to explode and I need to protect my children and my dogs. And like, I was trying to figure out a plan for safety.
The worst comment and ever made, and one that still leaves us all asking, why is there an electric toothbrush in the shower?
Thank you for listening to our show today at TerryWilson3.
Talking to Linda the other day. I just joined a week ago. This is from John.
Okay.
I foresee TW3 doubling/tripling each year. How are you going to handle the growth? What are your goals for the next couple of years?
Just assigning children jobs and neighbors jobs. But the problem is I'm running out of neighbors and children. So
one day we're going to create a union. We're going to solve this problem.
So what we're doing now is that's what we're in the process of right now. And that's why if you're a member, you've noticed some things going on in your back office, some changes. We're getting the system in place to be more automated. And so what takes River, hours a week to do, the automation will do in no time.
Which most workers tend to fear automation. I feel like amongst our crowd, we're like, I love automation.
Bring it.
Please
Bring
take my
it.
job,
True.
robot.
I think at the core of it, though, it's showing that you're committed to ensure that the tools and resources are
We're gonna
here
grow.
to let the growth occur.
Absolutely.
You're trying to cap it off at a certain space and say, this is all we're going to do. Either bringing in the extra resources or getting the additional tech development help.
Right.
All that work is being done.
Right.
So then, like if you were in any team environment, right, you want to use the people to their strengths.
Right.
And so that continual just,
Infrastructure.
that's right. And taking, the income here that is being brought, redeveloping the tool.
Us
and
being
enhancing
reinvested right back into the
it's
business.
done continually.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've, over the last several years, I've had more self-discovery in this one thing. I used to think, once I get to this point, I'll be happy. That competitiveness. Okay. I can shoot a 3-pointer from behind the line, but can I do a half court shot?
Well, getting stagnant, being comfortable with stagnancy didn't get you here.
No.
So it's not like probably all of a sudden that you're going to wake up one morning and be like, you know what, world?
Yeah.
I'm happy with status quo. So today's
not
day
my
one is
makeup.
status quo.
It's not my makeup. And, this business, we're designing it for our members to be here as long as they want to be. Look around. There's rooms. There's people in this room right now that are other Wilsons, that are being taught how this business works. And it's here if they ever want to, to carry on. So this is here. My plan is to have a platform for entrepreneurs to be able to grow as long as, and we got members on here, they're making $5-10 grand a week. My goal is, okay, let's see if you can do 20.
Sure.
Why not? And have the infrastructure and have everything in place and the platform.
Support that.
People or a list of people. And we have several different texters that we can refer you to within our system and training. One is our bulk cold texter, which is where you can buy a list of opted in cell numbers loaded in, and then broadcast a text out that says, hey, here's a health plan you might want to check out. Click here, and it takes them to one of your landing pages that our system will build. Or you can record a message and text that voicemail to them. Now, texting is a little more expensive than voice broadcasting, but your message is going to get through to about 98% of the people you text. It's a little more sophisticated way of marketing. We ask that if you're going to do this, you really take some one-on-one training before you engage it, because you can really get hurt and in trouble if you bulk text a group of people and don't do it in a way that brings them value and keeps you out of trouble. So we can show you definitely how to do that. Bulk texting is going to run usually around $45 per 1,000. A little more expensive than voice broadcasting, but top or desktop. All of our members get a blog, and no matter what they're selling, whether it could be insurance, real estate.
And monetize your skills and talents with Terry Wilson.
Thank you, Christopher B. What's up, TW3 family? Laura Peoples. The People's People, Laura Peoples. Chris Mill to episode 419. Tonight we are talking and taking time to give honor where honor is due. And remember, on this Memorial Day special episode, we want to pause for the cause to remember all of those who gave everything for us to be here and do what we are doing tonight. As the song and the saying you have probably heard goes, all gave some and some gave all. Tonight we honor and remember those who gave all,
And remembering is a powerful tool. Think about that. The power to remember. The ability to remember can both set a person free and can incarcerate a person's soul. The power of remembrance is easily unrecognized, but never unfelt. Too many times in our busy, technotronic, social media woven lives, we fail to recognize the gravitational pull on our soul that the orbiting of our memories swirling in our minds have on our daily lives. So tonight we are talking about remembering and its power on us. But before we get into it, let's see here. Oh, yeah, there's my button. Reagan, did we drop something?
It's the new site.
Yeah, he's gonna rue the day he said that. False prophet.
Only 419 in.
Yeah, 419 episodes in, and we still haven't learned how to do this. I mean, I'm starting off with the wrong button with laughter.
Get it eventually. Or we won't. Those are the options.
We will eventually get this, or, yeah, like I said, we won't. That's true. How was your day?
It's good. I slept 19 hours yesterday. That was the first.
How do you sleep 19 hours?
Okay, so it's really simple. First, you work two jobs, and then you take full-term courses. And then you just go as hard as you can. Also throw a little bit of working out in there because you made like some kind of promise to yourself you'll get back in shape before your wedding. And then on your day off, the one you have a week, you just sleep. It's pretty natural. So it's like I followed up my sleeping with a nap.
You slept 19 hours straight.
I've never done that before, but I went to bed at 2, woke up at 3 p.m., was up for about 4 or 5 hours.
Is this why tickets are closed on the weekends?
Should be. I don't know if that's the reason. I can just make a message in there. Yeah, Reagan's asleep for
yeah, that needs to be
hours.
That needs to be auto response on the weekends now. We would get to this, but Reagan is still asleep.
Reagan's still in a coma. A drop of class is really what I'm trying to say here.
And all the TW3 people are saying, thank God. I need my answers on this CRM. What is going on? Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
having to learn it just as much as they are.
It's a cool piece, but it has spurred some questions. Well, we've got a special guest. We like to call him the Bishop of Benevolence, the prophet of prophecy.
It's about time.
It's about time we had this gentleman on, and he's over there just staring at me like I was forced to be here. I don't want to be here. I'm here against my will. I'm already second guessing my decisions in life. Ladies and gentlemen, my pastor, Pastor Terry Howell. How are you doing?
Doing great so far.
You haven't dropped your headset, so you're off to a better start than me.
But that's soon to change, right?
Yes, but I did want to ask Reagan a question. He said, did he say you followed up the 19 hours with a nap?
Oh, no. So, like, I went to bed, took a nap, got up, went back to bed. And then it just it culminated into 19 hours of sleep.
Okay. It's good to be here. It really is.
You're going to have to, sort of straighten us out while you're here, because I already sent out the memo. Behave. The pastor is going to be with us tonight on the show. So,
we all know who that was directed towards.
And Reagan naturally came right back and said, why don't you just say redheaded stepchild?
5'10" gingers named Reagan, all right?
Yeah, if that's you, behave.
Well, there's more than one way to behave, so.
That's true.
He said don't behave poorly, though.
That covered all of us.
Yeah, I did qualify it because he would get lawyered up on me like that as well. Well, there's more than one way to behave, Dad. And off camera, the other son in whom I'm well pleased.
What's up?
What's up? So what news do you have on the car this week?
Well, nothing so
It
far.
broke down yesterday.
I actually did think I thought I had a leak. What was it? A couple days ago after a car wash. That was fun. Thought I had a leak. So just paying the car off, man. Bill after bill. It's a great life.
Well, I tell you what, ownership does bring on responsibility, doesn't it?
Yeah, fortunately. Yeah.
Unfortunately. All right. Well, what's your announcements, and we'll get into the show.
All right. Sure to use the hashtag TW3 podcast 419, and I'll make sure to get at that at the end of the show.
Hashtag TW3 podcast 419. If you want to share the podcast, we'll be looking for that hashtag, and we will pick someone who shared the podcast and send out a free signed copy of the book. And if you are a member, we might even throw in some extra gifts like leads and things like that as well, just to sweeten it up, because I know a lot of my members already have the book. So we'll give you a book that you can give away to one of your clients potentially, and then also maybe send out some leads as well.
Yeah, so in set 3 here, we're going to be taking your questions. So if you got any questions, go ahead and send those in now. We'll start compiling them. If you got any shout outs for Memorial Day, maybe someone you served with or just anybody you'd like to shout out, we'll also be getting those later in the show. Only thing we ask is to keep your questions and comments clean, relevant, and positive. And if none of those, it's got to be funny.
Yeah, if they cuss,
got to be funny.
So, Pastor, that's the rule. There's a little
bit of a disclaimer.
There's a little disclaimer. Grace. Grace. It's grace.
We give grace.
We give grace. If they were to say something off color, then we ask, well, was it funny?
Yes.
And if it meets that standard, then maybe some grace can be applied.
That's how me and River got through childhood, you know?
That's right.
You're going to say something awful, it better be funny.
Well, you know, the scripture does say, well, it doesn't say the word cuss in this verse, but we'll put it in there. It said where cussing does abound, much more grace abounds.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And also, we want to let you guys know that the conference is still on schedule. July 23rd through the 25th. July 23rd through the 25th is the You Are Worth More conference. If you want to go to worthmoreconference.com and get details, we do have some extra tickets over there, and we are as scheduled, and it looks like things are moving forward. South Carolina is opening up, and so if things continue to go as they seem to be going, the only thing that would keep us from doing this conference is if the airlines was preventing people from being able to travel in. Otherwise, we plan on being here, and we're clocked and ready to rock. And all of our speakers, Bill Perry, Wild Bill from Green Hill, as we like to call him, and Funny Man Chris Roop, all of them are going to be there. They have plus, if you are a member or have been following this podcast for any time, you're going to be able to rub shoulders and elbows with people that you've seen on this show and heard about on this show. Some of them are actually going to be outbreak speakers and trainers, guys that have been doing well in their business. You're going to be able to network with them and find out how they're taking some of the tools, training, and technology we have at TW3 to improve their lives. Now, tonight, this is a business show, and we make no bones about it and don't apologize for it, that we talk business. I mean, we're in the business of doing business, as they say. But tonight, we're going to take a little bit of break from that. It's still going to be relevant to business, but we're going to get into a mindset of remembering the power. Today, Memorial Day, is all about remembering those who have fallen. I brought up this thing. I didn't know this, and Pastor, you probably did know this, but I just found this out, that Memorial Day used to be called Decoration Day. I didn't know that. And it's a federal holiday in the United States for honoring and mourning the military personnel who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. The holiday is now observed on the last Monday of May, having been observed on May 30th from 1868 to about 1970. Is the way that went. And many people visit cemeteries. It talks about how the day is celebrated. But I wanted to take this day, this sacred day, this holiday that we as a nation sort of take time and take a time out and pause and say thank you, and give honor where honor's due, and remember those who have given everything to afford us the opportunity to do what we're doing tonight, being a day, but being a lifestyle that we use throughout our lives every day, and just come from it and how it literally benefits us. It benefits us in so many different ways. And, I think as your soul prospers, other things prosper as well. We are in a business show, but there's a real reality to, act well internally. It seems like external things do well as well. And so we want to get into that tonight. So we're going to be talking about the power of remembering. Why it's not just a philosophical check mark that you mark off. Okay, I'm a good person. I did this. I'm being kind to people. I'm remembering. I'm honoring. But why? There's a real tangible, practical reason why you should adopt a lifestyle of remembering and honoring and being thankful and appreciative and all of those things, and how it will benefit you immensely in your personal life, your professional life, and everything you see and do. So that's what I want to get into and open that up. If you do have people you want to honor tonight, if you've got people that you want to say, hey, I served with so-and-so, or my family was such and such, or so-and-so, put that in the chat tonight. Reagan's watching right now. Of course, we got questions coming up in segment 3 right after we talk about remembering, and we'll answer your questions as well. So don't think you're not going to get your questions answered. If you've got King with something, say, hey, I need to know how to do XYZ, we want to honor you and take time to answer that as well. But when we get back, we're going to be talking about why you should remember.
You know, if you've ever listened to my podcast, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. Earners are learners and leaders are readers. If you want to go to the next level, you do have to grow to the next level. And growth happens by the people you listen to the most. Seth Godin says you're the sum total of 5 people you hang around the most. And that is why you need to go to terrywilson3.com/free book and get a free audiobook. You need to do next. Try out the service. If you don't like the service, cancel it, and you get to keep that free audiobook. But you're going to love the service, and I promise you, if you will commit yourself to listening and learning from those who have gone where you want to go, you can go there also. So go to terrywilson3.com/free book today. Try out the service and get a free audiobook just for trying it out. terrywilson3.com/free book. You're listening to TW3 Radio, inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
So we're back tonight in honor of Memorial Day. We're talking about remembering. So let's get right into the discussion. So our first question here: outside of it just being a good thing to do or moral thing, why should we remember?
Why should we remember? Well, I'll take the first stab, and then if you want to bounce off of this, Pastor. I think I heard it said once, and it might have been one of your messages, so if I'm preaching back to your message, then forgive me. But, once I've said it a couple times, I get to own it.
That's true.
But I've heard it said that you duplicate what you appreciate. You duplicate what you appreciate. And we're literally shaping society when we appreciate it, and we're thankful for it, and we remember it. I think sometimes certain generations, I know I was in a younger generation at one point, you look at what your parents and your grandparents did and you say, well, that's just old hokey stuff. But there's a reason why these traditions need to carry on, and it's because, do you really want to live in a society? Do you want to have a business culture? Let's bring this into business. Do you want to work for somebody that doesn't appreciate nor honor sacrifice? What kind of business culture? What kind of school culture? What kind of church? What kind of society are you building? Culture are you building in your community? If you don't remember and honor and show appreciation for things and people that have helped you. And so I think it's in our best interest. Sometimes they teach us in marketing the first thing you got to do to influence people is answer that age-old question, what's in it for me? Because people are selfish at nature. And so they're always like, well, why? And sometimes they hear people say, hey, you need to be more honoring. You need to be more thankful. Yeah, but you don't understand. And they go right into justifying or rationalizing or making excuses for a mindset that says, no, if you knew my life, blah. And then they rationalize they don't have to be thankful, grateful. They don't have to fill in the blank. And so I would say, but it's in your best interest. It serves you well. It creates a world you want to live in when you start appreciating the things you want to duplicate.
Yeah, I agree with that, Terry. Actually, the process of remembering to me is built into learning how to live life. The more we forget about things that have attributed to our living and those that did help us in our life, the more we remember that, the better we are in living that life that's in front of us, because we're remembering what was taught, what was done. I think you can remember words, a lot of words of encouragement, and you can be discouraged in some words as well. But I think he was talking about, that it's good to remember those, especially those good, not be trapped in the old things. But when we remember, it's like, how am I going to get home tonight?
Right.
Well, if I don't remember how I'm going to get home, then I'm going to be stuck here. But that's not too bad either.
Well,
you can't do that without remembering.
Yeah, you can't move from where you're at to where you want to go. Well, that's in life. Hey, honor people, appreciate people. I mean, it's good business to teach your tell your clients, show your clients that you as a business, you as a salesperson, you as whatever, you appreciate their business. I mean, that's just good business. But there's a real practical reason for it. It's just not good morality, but it's just, it builds a society that's encouraging to live in and you want to live in.
Right. I agree with that. You said something at the beginning. You said, remember the Alamo.
Yeah, Miss Spelling Bees from San Antonio says she always posts, remember the Alamo.
Yeah, well, she's probably going to know the story a whole lot more than me about concerning history, but it was the Texans' independence.
Right.
At the Alamo from the Mexicans,
Right.
And that was in 1836. And they died they fought till the last person died.
Yeah.
And then it was 10 years later when the Mexican War of the Americans, not just Texans, when the Americans were in the Mexican, and their motto was remember the Alamo. So they remembered the devastating defeat and they gave their life.
Right. So it's a motivating factor as well, that when you can remember the sacrifice of others and that's very motivational too. This is why we're doing it.
Right.
It sort of answers that. Why are we out here, Sergeant? Why are we having to remember the Alamo?
Right. And it inspires. See, it's inspirational to have that remembrance, and this day always inspires me. It inspires me to remember other things, not just about this day, but there's thousands and thousands of soldiers, men and women, that gave their life for the freedom that we have.
Right.
And it inspires me to be more appreciative, more grateful, and it inspires me to be just consistent in my thinking with where am I headed, because it was a great sacrifice that they made. So what kind of sacrifice am I going to make in my living, not just in my death, but in my living? What am I going to be able to benefit? How am I going to benefit others by my living or death? How am I going to inspire others to do better, to go better? And if your business is not inspired, then you're not going to have much business for long.
Right. Well, that's good. That's very good. Very good.
I think this is a good follow-up question for that, but how has remembering someone else's sacrifice, service, or support helped you in your life?
Well, for me, that's one of the things that I just spoke to as well, that it helps me to be humble, to know that others gave in order for me to have.
Right.
You can remember a lot of the words that people gave you, but how you treated a person will be remembered, whether it's bad or good.
Right.
How you treat people, there's a big remembrance in that, and it holds on to you real strong if you're kind or if you're rude. Mm-hmm. People remember both. I've heard people, talk about their restaurants.
Right.
Say, well, I remember this person came in and was very rude. Well, that person comes in, it might be a month later. Well, what are they going to remember about that guy?
Right.
They're going to remember that he was rude, or somebody that went the extra mile to be kind to people that has been working, for many, many hours or whatever, and serving people. and yet somebody is going over and beyond, above, to be able to be kind to those people, and you remember that, and that inspires your life to do as good, if not better.
Right. It reminds me of that old Maya Angelou quote you probably heard that says, people will often forget what you tell them, but they'll read them.
It's true.
I mean, you're going to remember how, or I think the exact quote is how you made them feel.
Right.
They'll forget what you said, but how you made them feel, because once it's attached to emotion, it locks in, and we have to be guarded. But, I'm sure you had people coming up, and we're on Memorial Day, and, you were a child of the 60s, growing up playing rock and roll.
Absolutely, in a rock and roll band.
In a rock and roll band, playing that James Brown and all that rowdy music, and had friends that went off.
Right. And you hear about it, and then that's the reason that to me it does bring about a humility. And by the way, you said something about forget or not forget. You said about remembering. Don't forget them, but remember them and honor.
Mm-hmm.
See, we can remember something
and not honor it.
Yeah. But the Bible says, it is before honor there is humility. Mm-hmm. Humility comes before honor. So if we're not humble enough to recognize the sacrifice, recognize what's been done, then we may remember, but we won't honor what's been done.
Absolutely. Yeah, answering your question on how has remembering someone else's sacrifice, service, or support helped you, I go back to one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I chose the career path I'm on and an entrepreneur is seeing a single mom just absolutely struggling, and we did. I don't want to be poor mouthing, as they say in the South. I mean, we did okay. I mean, we had food on the table, shelter, and clothes on our back, and we were richly loved. So had everything we ever needed. So I don't want to say that, but my mother worked in a political environment. I mean, all offices and all businesses are political, but she literally worked in a governmental business or job that was political. Her boss went up for re-election every 4 years. And so seeing all of there's one thing, because you guys talk about how sometimes office politics and business politics and how it wears on you and how you wished it was just balls and strikes. If I do my job, if I'm good, if I'm, then that should be, but there's all these variables that come into play sometimes that just frustrate. Well, take that, a normal business, and then take it and put it in a political environment, and that gets heightened by 100% or more, and then put it in a small rural area of the Southeast where everybody knows everybody, and you've got certain churches and certain community groups that are wanting to influence that political apparatus more. And if you're on the wrong side or in the wrong denomination or whatever, so I saw all this and I just hated it. I hated it. I saw what it did to her. I saw how it wore on her, how she really had to live out her faith. She just couldn't walk. She couldn't preach, turn the other cheek and, count it all joy. She had to live it. And watching that inspired me, and remembering that inspires me, and it gives me a sense of gratitude that someone worked their tail off, did a lot so that we could have more. And so, and I honor her and my uncles who served in the military and served as second fathers to me. I honor them. So, yeah, remembering men and women that's done things for you in your life and sacrificed when they didn't have to, it definitely inspires me even to this day.
Mm-hmm. Our identity really is rooted into knowing and remembering from our historical past of seeing things. Our country, it will go further than any place we've ever been, as long as we don't forget our history,
right? Our
origin. How did we get started? And a lot of times we're losing some of that because it may not be taught
Right.
You know, and it may be not as understood to some generations,
Right.
but forgetting those things will destine us to repeat, you know, because there's no lesson that's been known and remembered.
Right.
We can live from that and today, you know. So our identity is really rooted, and your family heritage,
Oh, absolutely.
is rooted in you remembering what you just talked about.
Absolutely.
Heritage, inheritance that we have from family. And I remember, you know, that when my mother's suffering from dementia
Yeah.
right now, and she has a her long-term memory is good. Her short-term memory is not good. So she has to depend upon her long-term memory to be able to rehearse present, you know, and it's a struggle when you don't have that. But when you see people going through that, then you begin to see, you know, it's vitally important to our living today.
To live in the present.
To live in the present and live life, you know, the best we can, you know. So it's difficult. And I think you've got a relative as well that's suffering from some of that as well.
Like a father to me, my uncle, who served in Vietnam and was part of the Green Berets, and he's suffering from the same thing. And it is, to me, probably one of, you know, the worst diseases ever that came upon man was to lose your memory.
Mm-hmm.
And to not remember your loved ones, and not remember your stories, not remember even why you're here and what you're doing. It's heartbreaking. Right. But you're right. I another great point, guys. How do you appreciate where you're at today? How do you appreciate what you're doing? How do you appreciate what's in your hand if you don't remember how it got there?
Right.
And why it's there and how it all came about. I mean, without context, no wonder so many people are so vacant with meaning and purpose in their lives today, because they discount the things that brings purpose and brings passion and inspiration. You know, how do you you know, I've always said the best thing you can do when you're a young buck is get the worst car you can get that drives like garbage. Why? Because the next start off in a Cadillac, there's no context for appreciation. They're just not. You know, the kids laugh at me, but we was talking about, you know, what, I forget, was it with you or Gabby or one of the kids the other day, where we was talking about, you know, some of the things, how our lives changed when your mom and I got married. And I was like, well, because that was unheard of coming up, you know, with us. You know, we had one room, one, you know, unit, and that's where we all lived. And then you broke off to your rooms to either get under the covers or have the fan, you know, blow on you. You know. Yeah,
but that's the reason it's so important for you and me, you know, to be able to share stories with our children, right, so they can remember. And so as when we're remembering what we went through and we're sharing them with our kids, our sons and daughters, they're able to share that remembrance in a living. So as long as we're able to share the story, you know, and remember to teach them the things that we've learned, then they're gonna improve the quality of their living just because of you remembering what it was like, and they will be able to recall memory of you telling them the story.
Absolutely, good stuff. What else, Reagan?
All right, so question 3 here. What do you want to be remembered for? A little bit of a loaded question there.
That's a loaded question. Yeah. What do I want to be remembered for? I want to be remembered for someone who got inspired enough in their own life that they were inspired others. I want to be known for someone who helped others believe in themselves enough to do something about it and enjoyed their life more, experienced more. I want to be remembered that I equipped people, that I helped people, that I inspired them to be more than what they currently are.
Yeah, and that's of high quality. It really is, because I've seen you do those things in life. You haven't just talked about doing that. You've done those things and made a way for others to be able to advance their living and their life and even a business. You know, and you've given great sacrifice to be where you are today and to impart that to others. if we just listen and remembered. Really, it's true, because like I said, I pastor for a living,
Right.
But there is a business side to that, and I've learned a lot from you. But this thing about how do you want to be remembered? Just to be remembered, number one, is an honor. In other words, you're not forgotten, But I think I'd like to be remembered as number one, as a good father, good husband, and a good friend.
Yeah.
And but with that, I would want people to remember or to know about me that by others, because the floor that I'm standing on today in my life is resting on the shoulders of the people that sacrificed for me to be here.
Yeah.
Whether it was a counseling, because I remember in my life, I remember a real dark, just a bad situation, messy in my life. And had it not been for men like you and some other men that giving me godly counsel and giving me advice, and some making sacrifices for me to be able to get out of that and into the place that we are today, because we're not here just because you started from scratch on this business. You did on the concept of the business, but you have technology that was done by others.
Right.
Without the technology, you wouldn't have all this. So our floor of where we are is resting on the shoulders of those that made a sacrifice for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the word memorial, as you're talking, it just occurred to me what's over your right shoulder on that shelf right there holding my book up is a little smooth stone that I strategically placed there so I can look at it every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You remember where that came from?
Came from church. Came from a message that I preached.
Yeah.
To build a memorial. As the Israelites went across the river, they were instructed to take the stones as a memorial and begin to build it and to use that to teach your children about what happened on this day, how grateful we were for God to deliver us and to take us to how we got here. So we gave out those smooth rocks to everyone in church. So, and I put this in a place to where you every time you look at it, you remember, what God has done for you.
That's right. We'll be back right after this.
So I want to talk to you about Ring Central. I've been using Ring Central now for 8 years. Started using them when I was in the insurance business exclusively, and then when I started building my agency, I started putting agents within my Ring Central to create what's affectionately referred to as our call center, and that's how it all started, to be honest with you, with Ring Central. So when I tell you to use Ring Central, it's not because I'm getting paid, even though I am, but I started as a user first. And this is if you've got team meetings that you want to do and do conference calls, voicemail, fax, everything you need, Ring Central can handle, and it's all cloud-based. So if you've got a smartphone, you got a laptop, you got an iPad or a desktop, whatever you use, it's all cloud-based. It's wonderful. It's very intuitive. And let me tell you something else. For you guys out there that don't like technology, they're a little bit tech-tarded like I am, their customer support is bar none the best. Got a question? Call them. They'll walk you through it step by step. So the support is top notch, top shelf. And here's the thing. If you go to terrywilson3.com/Ring Central, you can try them out for 30 days free trial, 30-day free trial. And then if you keep it, they'll give you a 33% discount just for using terrywilson3.com/Ring Central. Use it. I promise you, you will be glad you did. Let me ask you a serious question. Do you know what your unique value is? That thing that sets you apart from everyone else in your business. Do you know where to go and how to find it? If you said no, I want to encourage you. Get my new book, You Are Worth More. You can go over to youareworthmorebook.com, and it goes into what your unique value is, where and what it is, the imperative for you to win and acquire more out of life, how to increase your income by using these unique values that you have, a way to scale and increase your impact both personally
personally and professionally, how others are succeeding in spite of perceived limitations, how to tap into your creative genius, actionable steps to earn unlimited income, and ways to leverage tools to increase your productivity. That's all the things you're going to learn in a very informative, inspiring, and illustrative way if you go over to youareworthmorebook.com. Youareworthmorebook.com. Hear me now or feel me later, as I like to say. You are worth more. In the moment, the very moment you start believing it and receiving it, you'll start acting upon it, and you will start having it. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music. You're listening to TW3 Radio.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
All right, so we're back. We're going to go ahead and get into some of our questions. We have some email questions that came through.
All right.
I want to go ahead and hit those. So number one, Terry, what could I specifically do with your platform to help promote my childcare business?
Oh, yeah, childcare. Well, couple things. Number one, if you are a single place that's wanting to attract people to bring their children, then we have a system that would allow you to get, and then you use one of our engagement tools like the bulk text or bulk email or something like that, and said, hey, we're running a special, or we're doing this, or we're doing that, or you send them a link to what's called a landing page, which is just a single page on a website that gives them more information to allow them to see if they want to engage your services. So yeah, that's the marketing side of it. And then we've got a customer service management system inside of it, so you can keep up with the children, the parents, who they are, all the records, the date of birth, notes on that particular child and that family and that household. If communication went on between them and a teacher or someone else, all of that would be recorded so that you'd be able to say, okay, so-and-so who's a teacher for this age group over here in my daycare or child care center had this conversation with this parent, but then the mother didn't know about it. And so you could keep up with notes so that when the father calls in and says, well, what about such and such? Well, we told the wife. So all of that would be in there. So those are some, managing your clientele is how that would work. And then finally, if you ever wanted to, quote unquote, now I use this word not in a legal sense, but in just a lack of a better way of articulating it, but if you wanted to sort of franchise yourself, duplicate yourself, have people do daycare and things like that under you, our model shows you how to do that as well, because you would be the back office for other sub outfits that would work under your. So you would be able to do that as well. Great question, Reagan.
Cool. I'm new at working on my own. How can your business help training and support me if I'm not wanting to really be a reseller of your products?
Yeah, so you don't have to resell our product to be a member. We've got a lot of people, 60% of our membership doesn't even resell our system. They just use it to manage their existing business. And the thing I would tell you that would benefit you, especially if you said you were new to working on your own, I don't care who you are. I'm Terry Wilson, who's pretty much worked for myself just about my whole life, except for a couple stints of working in straight commission jobs. But it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody needs people. You need people to come alongside you and keep you accountable, keep you inspired, keep you motivated to learn from. I always argue that's one of the advantages, and I'll throw in a plug for the church. That's one of the reasons you need to be involved in a church, is because you don't need to walk it through life alone. And so in business, you don't need to walk in business alone. And you'll find this funny. I'm thinking the value of our conference is the training, the teaching on the tools, the aha moments we're going to be able, maybe even some of the inspiration, because we put a lot of time and effort. What's the biggest impact that we can give people and inspire them? And so that's where my head's at in designing it for the first few years. Do you know what the surveys told us the greatest value takeaway was? Had nothing to do with what I did, which ticked me off. Had everything to do with this being around other people that's walking in the same journey that they're walking. In other words, it was the networking part of it.
The relationships.
It was.
I mean, you kind of had something to do with it.
Well, yeah, I facilitated it. I organized
You
it.
didn't coach on that specifically.
But it's not because of something that Terry Wilson said. It wasn't something that Bill Perry or it wasn't anything that anyone said, taught. It was the fact that, hey, I have the same tools that you have, and I'm trying to accomplish the same goals that you are. And you're doing well over here, but I'm doing well over here. And it's just this.
Well, that kind of goes into the power of like hands-on training.
Yeah.
I mean, getting to network and be with people that are doing the same thing you were doing, maybe struggling areas that you're excelling or vice versa. I mean,
right.
You know, there's no coach that's going to get up or instructor that's going to get up and be able to replicate that.
No.
It's a very natural and authentic way to learn.
It is. So, to answer the person's question, one of the values we're going to be able to give you is just a network of like-minded people that you're going to be able to coexist with and to work alongside. And we're going to give you opportunities to get in training times with other people and all of that. So
I think that was one of the funnier sides of do that again, because
do that again.
You have 4 people all at once just like, no, seriously, do that again, because we're all struggling with this right here. Do it again. And so to me, that was kind of...
For us, what it did for us is in a virtual environment, we don't know what they perceive.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we intend to convey. This is what I said. This is what I illustrated on the screen. Surely they hear it and see it the way it was intended when it was transmitted. And when we're in front of them face to face, au contraire, mon frère, it
a little different.
It was very enlightening to us. It's like, oh, they don't get this.
Yeah.
This isn't being understood as well as we thought it was, or we're spending a lifetime on things that, yeah, we got that. No, you know, so I'm telling you, connecting in a real tangible way, we're in the technology space. I love podcasting. I love live streaming. I love all these tools. They've helped us. They've built, but nothing replaces that knee to knee, face to face interaction, exchanging ideas. You can't. And in Zoom and all of these virtual meeting type things, they're great tools.
Yeah.
But there is a huge value. And these conferences, the reason why we continue to do them and haven't made money yet doing them, but we make it in the aftermath, sort of like an investment. We don't capture our cost on the ticket sales and everything there. Mm-hmm. So it's about a $10,000 to $15,000 upside down investment. But then in the aftermath, we see the
long run, yeah,
Miller Time and Captain Quackenbush and Greenbacks and Miss Spelling Bee and all of these people that have become icons here at TW3 and what they've been able to do in their business.
There's a lot of people that know the Bible, but they don't know who the writer, the author of the Bible.
Right.
So they know all the rules and they know all the logistics, but they don't know the life, and the one who gives the life. So it becomes something of just legalistic writings, that you have to try to follow and figure out on your own, but when life comes, it opens up all the things that were written. And when you offer relationship, and that's what you get really big on or benefit from at your conferences, because you're able to do this eyeball to eyeball, person to person, and they begin to relate, because now the instruction book has somebody who's alive that is living it and wants to give you life for it.
Right. And it translates.
Right.
There's just something about that human connection that it translates once that happens. Good stuff.
Cool. Let's see here. Third question. What happens if I get your program and do everything as instructed, but still get no results?
Well, let's capture what you said, that you do everything as instructed. We do have what we call a better business practice, or a 90-day money made guarantee in this thing, where if you will do certain activities in a way that we can measure those activities, okay, we're not, we'd love to work off the honor system, but we've learned, as one of my favorite politicians that my oldest son is named after, we trust but verify.
Good idea.
Yeah, so it's not that we don't trust you, we just want to verify. So if you will do certain things in a certain manner and allow us to verify that you did execute on said instructions, we've been offering this now for this guarantee of 4 years, and we haven't had to pay out on it yet, because
honestly, it's a numbers game at that point. Statistically speaking, you do what we show you, you're going to get some amount of results. Now, will you be a millionaire tomorrow? Probably not. Most likely, can almost guarantee you won't. But what we will tell you is you're going to be developing muscle memories that's going to show you, oh, this is the type. And let me just be frank with you. When you first start doing it, just like anything else that you do up front and new, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel strange. It's going to feel frustrating at times. But this is the process that makes or breaks people in their entrepreneurial journey. If you can push through the pain and just keep doing good activities as shown and keep doing it, you will see results, and we offer that. Now, if what are those results? I think there's a minimum on it that you'll get. If that doesn't happen, then what do? We suspend all cost of doing business, your admin fees and everything else. We get a trainer involved with you that comes alongside you, and we literally drag you across the finish line to get you to that minimum result. Okay. To be very clear, there's no refunds on this because it's all software based. It's all service based. So we can't unring a bell. Once you buy a system, a developer sends out the software, the licensing, the hosting, all of that. So we want to be very clear on that. But we do have a sort of a better business practices, a 90-day money made guarantee. If you'll do this, we guarantee a minimum of $1,500. And if you don't get that, we come alongside you. We take out any cost of doing business to get you to that point and come alongside you. But like I said, since we've implemented that, we haven't had to do that, pay out on it, or execute on that at all, because it's just numbers at that point. As my infamous Uncle Harold says, a blind hog will find an acorn every once in a while, which I know is a mixed metaphor, which I think he meant you could be the wrong thing looking for the wrong thing, but eventually you're going to find it every once in a while. We just put the numbers in your favor, so that happens.
His Facebook page is still my favorite. Platform to TWE3. Yeah, sorry.
You can do a domain forwarding. Yes, but the hosting and everything does stay on our platform. But
do we have any training on that? That was the follow-up question.
You'd probably have to, whoever you have your domain name purchased, a new website, but that can be done.
Cool.
Why are you laughing?
Final question. Reagan, will LeBron ever get as many rings as Michael?
No.
There's a lot to go on.
Absolutely
there.
not.
In the same circumstance, same coaches, same time period. Sure, he'd probably have more, but
never.
Happenstance.
Whoever asked that question,
Hallie.
Hallie.
Let's go back and forth with the Wildcats and UNC, and then LeBron and.
Oh, I love it. Hallie, we call him one and done because he's a UK fan. And our knock on UK is, they bring up these guys to get them to go to the championship, and then they're out the next year. But we have fun.
I always just bring up wrong statistics just to make them mad, because I know they've won more championships, but I just go, yeah, but who's won more
See, Miller Time says, hey, Terry, I made a little over $180,000 this year just because of something you said at the conference, sir. And more than half a year left to still. You are the man. You are the man, Miller Time. So we got one more break, and we'll be back right after this. But we're going to give a book away, I think. Do we have someone that we picked out for the book yet?
I apologize. That was very unprofessional. It's a write-up.
I told you. We're just learning how to do that.
He said that's a write-up?
You're going to get written up right after this. So we do have someone.
We do.
We're going to give a book away. We're going to give some leads away. And do we have shout outs for people on?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Okay. And we'll give shout outs to people who served that you've served with and family members that we want to do that as well right after this.
So there's two things that I use on a daily basis to make more money, make more sales. Because I have learned over 20 some odd years of being an entrepreneur is most people do not make a significant purchase the first time they hear about it, or even the second time. As a matter of fact, it normally takes 6 touches, 6 encounters with a client before they will ever decide to pull the trigger on anything. How do you scale a business if you can't automate that process? One of the things and tools that I use is Aweber, which is an automatic email marketing system. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial by going to terrywilson3.com/Aweber. That's terrywilson3.com/AWEBER, Aweber, and try their services out. I think you're going to really like it. And if you decide to keep it after 30 days, they'll give you a discount for using that code. Go to terrywilson3.com/Aweber right now and put your marketing and your sales on autopilot. Have you ever tried a work from home business? If you have, you may be like several others. Matter of fact, 98% of people, according to Forbes magazine, who've tried and failed. Why? Well, there's several reasons, but the main reason is because most home-based businesses have no means, method, or mechanism for you to get in front of people who need, want, desire, and can afford what it is you offer. See, the unique thing about terrywilson3.com is we put you in a position where if you can simply answer a phone, read a script, you can make money. And I'm not talking about going and selling pills, thrills, lotions, and potions. I'm talking about selling something that every business, everyone who has a product, good, or service needs. And that is a lead generation marketing system. But here's the cool thing. You never cold call. You never have to recruit your friends, family, and foes. You simply take a call, read a script. Want more information? Go to terrywilson3.com/call center right now to get more information. That's terrywilson3.com/call center.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
That's not annoying at all.
I feel like I'm a DJ in here.
And now back.
You'll like this. We got a member that's an elite member out in California, Ed Menenzi. I don't know if he's on tonight, but yeah, he is. Matter of fact, I just saw the pop-up, and he's talking about how he loves how we open it up with this backbeat Michael McDonald groove, and then the guy that's the announcer, some British guy, and then it comes right into, "Hey y'all," it's like cultural whiplash.
That's laugh.
It's like what's the guy from the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? Mm-hmm. If he was the voiceover for Hee Haw, that's what. Oh my word! Good stuff. Good stuff. We're having fun tonight. We hope you guys are. If you're not, there's no refunds on the podcast either. So, River, are you awake?
I am.
Okay. Who is the winner of the book and free leads?
We got Lori Brown.
Lori.
That's right. Congratulations.
Well, Miss Spelling Bee, we have remembered the Alamo, and we're going to send you, of course, free book and some free leads and some other stuff. I might even send out a special gift just for you, Miss Spelling Bee. The reason we call her Miss Spelling Bee, you'll love this one too. So we're at the conference, and in one of my keynotes, I'm talking about how you really don't have to be the most intelligent person in the room to do the best. Just your passion, being persistent, just giving some attributes that you really should focus on more than worried about. And the word that I was using was intelligent, and that's fine. And it was the word that was on my keynote. There's only one problem.
What was that?
I misspelled intelligent.
That is brilliant.
And now
You wouldn't have spelled that right either. So.
Chris, trying to save me and trying to save face, spun it off like I was trying to be what's the word?
Facetious.
No, ironic.
Oh, well.
Ironic and facetious in humor, and no, I just totally misspelled it. And so she's sitting on the front row, and she says, "I just got one question." She said, "You misspelled intelligent." And so, of course, the room broke up in laughter, and I lost it from then on out. I mean, I was done. So
And then he was like, "Well, what's your question?"
So
Yeah, but it did prove a point.
exactly. I said, "Thank you. That's all I'm trying to say is you don't have to be intelligent to do this." But anyway,
Great.
Well, Pastor Terry, thank you for being on with us tonight.
Oh, it was an honor. It really was.
Do you have things that you need to pray for now with this group?
I have more things to pray for now with this group.
Well, guys, happy Memorial Day for all of you guys out there. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you had a great Memorial Day. I hope you were able to pull away some value out of tonight, and this will help you do what I'm telling you. Remembering is so powerful. Set up those memorials in your household. I've got one right behind Reagan here that I look over all the time because it reminds me, because Pastor Terry preached this message of, where the children of Israel crossing over the sea, and they instructed them to go into the promised land. They instructed them, hey, go back and grab some stones and let's build a monument so your children's children will remember the struggle that you had to go through to get to this point. And so as a symbolism and as a way for us to remember, he invited the congregation to come up and grab a stone. And that was right around the time where I was having to rebuild my life and rebuild this business that you're looking at right now. And so every once in a while, I'll lean over to that stone that's right behind Reagan's head. It's actually holding the You Are Worth More book back so it don't flop open. And it's just a symbolism. It's a memorial for me to remember. We just didn't land here. We got the scars to prove it. You got something, Reagan?
Yeah, our good friend Christopher Miller had a special shout out we want. So he said, please remember my friend Sergeant Wright in your prayers today. He served with me in Iraq, but sadly did not make it. Sergeant Wright's wholehearted laugh and giant smile would always brighten my day. And a follow up with my buddy Sergeant Wright always had his Bible in hand. He spent hours a day reading through it. I remember the debates and discussions he and I would have for hours. Rest in peace, brother. You were missed. Yeah.
All right. So we remember all of those, and encourage you to continue. Do we have any others that were brought in?
That was the only one.
Okay. So thank you, Chris, for popping those in, and we definitely hold him and you up in our prayers and give thanks for both lives, and ultimately the one who gave it all. I know that's no greater love than you can have than this, is someone who will lay their life down for another. So it always reminds me, and I always come back, stand on the wall, and they say, nothing will happen to you tonight, not on my watch. So thank you, guys. God bless. Have a good night.
Thank you for listening to our show today at TerryWilson3.com. If you would like more information on how we can take your money, your business, and your life to the next level, then please visit us online at TerryWilson3.com or call 800-673-1728.
This is the Terry Wilson. Really? I'm excited, Terry. All right, I want to get started here.
Is this a celebrity, Terry Wilson?
Oh, my word.
How you doing, sir?
Dude, don't even go there. I've been listening to this for a while, and I'm finally like, okay, guys, what a privilege. I mean,